contributed to different fields of life, whether it's philanthropy or in culture, arts. And it is believed that, with such people inside the parliament, it's going to add gravitas to parliament even more. And their contributions to society is something which needs to be rewarded. On a day like today, Women's Day, the Prime Minister made that point when he talks about Nari Shakti. And Sudha Murty, we all know, has been very much in the news. She is the one who began right from the scratch. A philanthropist, she's a writer, and she airs her very, very strong views on a large number of matters. That profile of hers seems to have been rewarded now, and under the precedence of India's nomination quota is where she has now been appointed to Rajya Sabha.
That's the quota under which she's been appointed to Rajya Sabha. Pallavi, is it, I believe, eminent personalities from different fields are nominated to Rajya Sabha in each term by different political parties. This time, if you look at the composition of Rajya Sabha, there are some women from media, from IT and philanthropists like Sudha Murty who've been nominated. What are the key nominations this season that we have seen?
Well, Mary Com is also one of them. I mean, she was also rewarded for her contribution. So this is something which is very much enshrined in our constitution and the convention in Rajya Sabha, that the President of India has the power to appoint people who she or he think can add that weight to our parliamentary democracy. And people who really have excelled in their field, it can be any field, whether it's in health, whether it's in culture, or whether it's in economy, those are the people who need to be rewarded, who can actually add that strength to parliamentary democracy when they hobnob their views which are aired while they're speaking inside Rajya Sabha. In that context, just to put for Sudha Murty, we have been hearing her. She should not be thought of the wife only of Narendra Modi, as many would want to dismiss her off. And her critics have been, but the point is that she on her own has her story to tell, and she has been a story of strength, of someone who's begun from the scratch, who's come on her own and who's never lived in the shadows. As a philanthropist, she runs an organization with his upliftment of women, or with her thoughts and through her multiple books that she has written. And that is something which the President of India has recognized, which the Prime Minister has lauded.
Absolutely. Pallavi Ghosh getting us all the perspective. The Prime Minister also says that her presence in Rajya Sabha is a testament to Nari Shakti. Pallavi, just a word, Nari Shakti, or the manner in which women's empowerment and participation in active politics is given thrust by all political parties, especially the Prime Minister, is something that is the talk of the town in this election season. And of course, the presence of Sudha Murty further accentuates and augments that particular point that has been made so many times. Pallavi. Chandra Shrikant from Money Control is also joining us on the broadcast. Chandra, thank you so much for joining us today on the broadcast. I mean, you have spoken to Sudha Murty on multiple occasions. You have interviewed her. We are all glad with her nomination to Rajya Sabha. Any reaction, any word coming in from her?
No, we are yet to get a reaction from her, but it's been quite a remarkable, announcement for Sudha Murty. She's one of India's leading philanthropists. And if you see in the last 2 years, she has been playing a vital role in some of PM's initiatives. So in 2022, she was nominated as a trustee to the PM Cares Fund, and in 2023, in fact, her husband, Infosys co-founder Nari Shakti as well, was awarded the Padma Bhushan many years ago. So it's really part of a larger relationship here between PM Modi and Sudha Murty. They are already working together on a lot of initiatives, and we're taking that forward now with this nomination to the Rajya Sabha. As the PM said in his tweet, it also epitomizes Nari Shakti. And Sudha Murty, even after retiring from the Infosys Foundation, has established a Murty's Trust. She works very closely in rural areas across districts in Karnataka and other parts of India.
You pointed out, Chandra, about her work and how, despite retirement from the formal work, she continues to do the philanthropic work, deeply engaged and involved with women. Could you just tell her about the body of work? It has been a career spanning across decades. She's not a woman who's lived in shadows. She exemplifies grace, grit, determination and humility all at the same time. But her body of work, what stands out?
Sudha Murty herself is a very qualified person academically. In fact, she's a gold medalist. She's the first woman to get a job at Tata Motors then. Even in the foundation of Infosys, she played a crucial role with her angel fund, but she decided not to be part of the company. But over the years, she has immersed herself in literature and in social service. So she's a very prolific author, a very popular best-selling author as well in the children's category. Her Gopi Diaries series is a bestseller. She's also done a lot of work on the social side. So if you look at her book, 1000 Stitches, it documents her work with different communities, marginalized communities. She's focused a lot on literacy, uplifting women who are at the margins. So that's been the focus of her work.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to her last, she said that, she also has a lot of interest in archaeology.
Yeah.
And that's something that she'd like to focus on once she steps down from the Infosys Foundation. But now with the Rajya Sabha nomination, looks like she'll have her hands full, which is between Bangalore and New Delhi.
Absolutely. Chandra, can I please request you to stay with us on the broadcast? Our political editor, Aman Sharma, is also joining us on the show. Aman, the nomination to Rajya Sabha, what is the political messaging that the Prime Minister highlights here or underlines here?
Well, the message from the Prime Minister on International Women's Day, recognizing one of the, the biggest, maybe one of the biggest women achievers in the country right now, Sudha Murty, to the Rajya Sabha. And Avantika, I must tell you, Sudha Murty was in Parliament in December, earlier this December, when, some journalists, in fact, when she was coming out of Parliament, had asked her that, will we see you in Parliament soon? And she had smiled, and, maybe something was afoot then, which we didn't know. But today we see this announcement coming from the Prime Minister and, from the government rather, and the government always has been, Sudha Murty is somebody whom the Prime Minister deeply respects. On earlier occasion also we have seen interactions between them, and somebody who stands for women empowerment, women entrepreneurship. The work she has done in the field that she specializes in is an inspiration for women across the country. And in fact, a couple of months back we also saw the government nominating Satnam Singh Sandhu, who's the Chancellor of the Chandigarh University, who's also a leading educationalist, to the Rajya Sabha. So these choices of the government in Sudha Murty and Satnam Singh Sandhu, basically recognizing and showing the government's outlook towards women empowerment, as well as recognizing people who are performed high in the fields of education as well as social service.
Absolutely. I mean, not to say that this is optics without substance, but in the election season, even optics is very, very important. It comes on the day of International Women's Day. Today is also the auspicious occasion of Mahashivratri, and those kind of announcements coming in, especially the nomination of Sudha Murty to Rajya Sabha. How important and critical are women voters for Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
Well, Anusha, if you see, women voters, of course, have been very important for the BJP. They are the major voting bloc which has supported the Modi government consistently. Since 2014, 2019, in various state elections, it is a woman voter which has really backed the Modi government. Issue of safety, issue of security, also the issue of various women-centric schemes, be it the Ujjwala Yojana, be it the houses scheme in which houses have been registered in the name of women. That is why the Modi government has solid support of women voters. And when we see appointments like of Sudha Murty, the earlier today the price cut of ₹100 and the LPG price, again aimed at women voters, to making sure that this voting bloc remains with the BJP. Now the appointment of nomination of Sudha Murty as the Rajya Sabha MP. I think the Modi government has very studiously reached out to the women voters, saying that, we care for not just the poor, the downtrodden, uplifting them. The free ration scheme, for example, which has been run since COVID, has been extended for the next 5 years, by the Modi government. All these schemes show that, how the Modi government has been investing in women welfare and recognizing those women, who have performed exceedingly well in various fields, and giving them the recognition like Sudha Murty has got now for the Rajya Sabha MP.
Absolutely. Chandra continues to be with us on the broadcast. Chandra, in your various interactions with Sudha Murty, what was it that stood out for you? I mean, we've all seen her interviews, the work that she's done, the generous personality, the humble backgrounds that she's always, exemplified in her work and how she interacts with everyone. But what was it for you that stood out?
So, when you see Sudha Murty, it will be like you're seeing any, person in her 60s or 70s from middle class India. So I think she stayed very true to her middle class roots. In fact, even a couple of weeks ago, I saw her at a concert hall in Bengaluru. Absolutely no fuss. She came in clad in a simple sari, wearing her trademark jasmine flowers. sat down, took in the concert. She's, an ardent, she's very fond of Hindustani classical music. So she had come for a concert for that. And, you will see her in the smallest of darshanis in Bengaluru, taking in a plate of idli or dosa or vada or the South Indian delicacies. So I think, she stayed true to her middle class roots. And even if you meet her, she's very approachable and humble. So I think that's one aspect that really stands out about Sudha Murty, despite the fact that she's perhaps worth millions of dollars, and she would have been worth even more if she stayed on, in emphasis as a member and joined the company. In fact, recently, Mr. Narendra Modi said that he regretted not giving her that role despite being highly qualified. But that is what it is.
And that is what it is. Aman, we spoke about the power of women. And I think in this country, the power of women in religion or in culture has never been understated. But there has been a huge problem when it comes to women in political participation, in active politics, in active decision making across various fields, culture, including politics. But in electoral politics, as Prime Minister once again redefines the classes and categories, there is a very strong class that has emerged across religions, castes, that is the women voters. Various schemes are about women-centric scheme, direct benefits to women, making sure that the entrepreneurs come from, more and more women entrepreneurs come forward. I remember going to a recent fest that was organized by the government, and there were stalls, dozens of stalls by Lakpati Didis, which had come from different parts of the country and showcasing their work. There has been a lot of empowerment to women at the political level, at the macro and micro economic level as well.
Well, certainly, Anusha, I agree with you completely on that. And, so in women voters as such under the Modi government, it has broken also these barriers of caste. So we see women across caste, maybe even across religions, voting for the Modi government because they have got these benefits from the government, irrespective of whether they are poor, which caste do they belong to, be it a house being registered in their name, being an Ujjwala cylinder coming their way, or being a toilet being built in their house free of cost. That is why the woman voter, I think, is one bloc which votes in mass for the BJP because it is even above caste. That is one important factor, which we have seen in the past election, and BJP has carefully nurtured this sentiment also. We also saw the BJP passing the women's reservation bill in the parliament, which will obviously come into effect by 2028, 2029 before the next Lok Sabha elections in 2029. But the woman empowerment that has been brought about by the women's reservation bill, as the Prime Minister has earlier said, this was a bill which was stuck for almost 30 years. No government could push it through. It finally took the decision of the Modi government, the rigor to get it through parliament, and it will be a reality in a few years to come. And Sudha Murty in a way reflects that, more women in parliament. Sudha Murty was also awarded the Padma Bhushan in 2003 by the Narendra Modi government. So recognitions have always come her way from the Modi government, and this is also a step towards saying that, okay, we want to see more women in parliament, maybe more women getting tickets in the upcoming Lok Sabha elections from various parties. That could be a positive development as well.
Absolutely. Empowerment of women, more voices of women, not just in religion, culture, but more importantly in active decision making, in careers, and more importantly in politics.